We've built this tool we call Lifetime Impact. As I give to the spring every single month, my people served grows. So I'm providing clean water to more and more people, and I'm watching that grow over time. What kind of impact can I make in 700 million?
Yes.
Well, now I'm looking at it, oh wow, that's 40 people, that's 50 people, that's 80 people. And then as I go out and even bring other people into the mission of to give money to Charity Water, I can watch their lifetime impact grow too. It's just a unique way for us to say, it matters. You matter.
Years in the industry. You are right now Charity Water Chief Revenue Officer. That's been a recent promotion. Congrats.
Great. Thank you.
As of last year. Yeah. What do you do as a Chief Revenue Officer?
So I oversee everything from brand marketing to our ultra high net worth fundraising initiatives. And everything in between. So we have our brand partnerships, corporate partnerships in there, foundations. We have our monthly recurring product called the Spring, and of how people can engage with the organization and give monthly. So it's really kind of runs the gamut from the top of funnel to the bottom of funnel, as we would say in the marketing space.
So you really are a chief in the for-profit world. It would be chief marketing officer. You oversee all of it.
I do.
The budget, revenue responsibilities. That's the exact equivalent.
I do. I have an incredible team that helps me in that, and I'm able to at certain times focus in one area more so than the others.
Yeah.
Because of the really smart team that we have around us at Charity Water.
So we obviously spoke. We had breakfast this morning, which was delicious. We know we spoke before, and you spoke to me about the fact that Charity Water actually wants to solve problems. What does that mean?
Yeah. I mean, really at the heart of what we do, it's to provide clean water to everybody in the world. 1 in 10 people right now, 700 million people in the world do not have access to clean and safe drinking water. It's really unfathomable for us that are sitting here.
We can't even imagine. I mean, there's water right here.
I walked this morning to my sink, I brushed my teeth and never thought for a second about turning on the faucet, right? And yet we know that 1 in 10 people around the world do not have that luxury. In fact, quite opposite. They actually spend many hours a day walking to collect water that even in turn with all of that walking and the hours put into collecting that water is still making them very sick and their families sick. And so, for us, we constantly use it. And to be honest, we internally will say in our lifetime, oftentimes, in our lifetime.
Solve it in our lifetime?
And because we want to create a sense of urgency. And, for us, it is not okay that 1/10 of the world doesn't have a basic human need. And so, for us, it's how can we move faster?
Yeah.
And solve this as fast as we possibly can.
Well, give me an example. Make it real for me. Like, what's one example of something that you guys do, how you allocate the 100 million plus that you raise annually in a way where you feel that you are solving it versus addressing it? What does solving mean, like more specifically?
Sure. I think a statistic that some people might be really surprised to hear is that, about not quite a third of the projects that have been built on the continent of Africa over the last 20 to 30 years to provide water to people are broken.
Oh, really? A third?
About a third, yeah.
So that money is wasted, you're saying?
Yeah, essentially. I mean, there was a time where, for a period of time, people had, and those communities had water access. But at some point along the way, a part has broken, something has gone wrong with water yield or whatever it might be. But, and so one of our key goals is to keep water flowing. It's not just to provide it, but to keep it flowing. And so we have maintenance programs that are really focused on making sure that once we provide clean water to people living in a community, that water continues to flow for years and years to come.
Okay.
So when we talk about solutions, we talk about solving things, it's really focused on what type of solution are we providing and what is the quality of that solution for the long haul. We want these communities to experience this forever. And so that's that's part of built into our DNA.
Something else that I remember you told me is that what's else is built into your DNA is this idea that you have separate bank accounts for the two sides of the operation. Can you unpack that?
Yeah. I mean, this kind of comes from early on when Scott Harrison, our CEO and founder, was developing the organization, was launching Charity Water. He found that there was great distrust from the American public toward charity.
Yeah.
And so one of the big things that was limiting people's giving or limiting their generosity was they didn't really trust where the money was going.
Yeah.
Am I paying for some CEO to have a big house or cars or whatever it might be? And so Scott said, I just want to kind of deal with that on the front end, and let's just never make that part of the equation. And so in doing so, we created what's called a 100% model. We have two separate bank accounts. So if you go to our website right now and you were to give a gift, 100% of those dollars would go straight to the field to provide clean water for someone.
Yeah.
So people say, how do you do that? Does the staff are not volunteers; they get paid. We have printer in our copy machines and all of the things that it costs to run a business. So in order to run the business, we actually have a group of about 130 families. They're called The Well.
Okay.
They pay for all of the overhead for the organization. So they pay my salary, they pay for my flights to get to places and visit the field and those types of things. And so the general public never has to spend a penny of their money on any sort of overhead.
Huh.
So much so that if you were to go to the website and give, the credit card company would charge us a fee for you to run your credit card.
Yeah.
We actually take, if it's a $3 fee, we would take $3 out of the operations bucket and put it in the water bucket. So
paid by those families.
That's right. So that 100% of the money you intended to give actually goes to the cause. Yeah.
Now, I want to shift gears. Let's talk about the framework that you seem to have developed over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
What is that framework and what does it mean to you?
Sure. So the framework is fairly simple. It's called look in, look up, look out.
Mm-hmm.
And it is in that order purposefully, intentionally. Look in, look up, look out. And look in is really this idea of, so often, and the reason why I coined the phrase is so often I heard people and saw organizations out there trying to do so many different things.
Yeah.
And a lot of what they were trying to do was go out and acquire more donors, go out and acquire new audiences, go out and acquire more donors. And they're spending all of this time when so often they had so much just right under their nose of opportunity. And what is the experience of your existing donors? What are they experiencing from the organization? Because what we know is that happy donors are your best acquisition source.
So we're going to unpack this over the next X minutes. We'll talk about, we spoke about mission. How does this translate to messaging?
Yeah.
How does this translate to audiences, channels, an engine, a revenue engine that we can build? And, when you talk about looking in, looking up, looking out, how is in different from up and out?
Yeah. So in would be, who do we already have in-house?
Mm-hmm.
What is the message that we're sharing? Who is our audience?
Okay.
It's really understanding the kind of core elements of who you are today.
Yes.
Looking up would be, how can my board connect me to more people in their networks? How can my executive team connect me to more people in their networks? And really kind of expanding outwards. Looking out then is trying to figure out, how do we go out and forge our way into new audiences? But again, they are consequential for a reason. They're prioritized. Look in, look up, look out, because you should always be starting with in.
And what is the origin of this? Like, how did this come about? Because I have to admit, it's not it's a phrase that feels so natural. It's almost something that someone would have invented 50 years ago.
No, I think, and again, it just kind of came from me seeing organizations really spin their wheels.
Yeah.
Trying to go out there, tell so many different stories, really water down so much of their messaging because they're trying to do too much at one time. And so, it came back to me came to me from this idea of let's start where we are. I was actually sitting in and one of my first ever, it was my first ever staff gathering at Charity Water, and Seth Godin was speaking.
So 4 years ago or so? Or?
So yeah, a little over 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And Seth is a generous donor of Charity Water and a great
He's
friend.
Obviously very well known.
Yes, yeah. And he looked out at us sitting there as the team, and he said, "I want you to know you already have all the donors you need.
Okay.
You already have all the donors you need to fulfill your mission." And it's for us that are always, kind of constantly thinking about what's next. How do we grow? How do we get out there? It was a sobering thought of, and what he meant by that is, if you do right by those who are already connected and are already incredibly passionate about your mission, you are going to fulfill your mission. You are going to grow. And I 100% believe he's right. And I believe it starts, again, kind of going back to this idea of looking in.
Did that grow out of situations where you were frustrated?
Probably. And I've had so many times throughout my career where you feel like you try something and it doesn't work, or it's failing, and you're trying to figure out why. But I also think that so often we become enamored with the new and shiny.
Sure, grass is always greener.
The grass is always greener,
for sure.
And we forsake kind of the people that are right there in front of us, who are passionate about what we're doing, who are already invested. And so, how can we, appropriately spend time and energy and investment on them to make sure that their experience is the best, and they are going to be actually the best people to tell our story.
So, how I translate this to the for-profit world is there's just this, basic and often to know and not to do is not to know. And what I mean by this is we all know that product market fit, that standing for something and owning that niche with a clear message in specific channels is, I almost feel like if you ask me right now, what is the number one responsibility of a chief revenue officer or chief marketing officer, I think it's being the steward of that vision, of that intersection between who I am as a brand, who is here as my team, what do they believe, who is my consumer, who is my donor that I'm serving, and how do I own that? And when we spoke this morning over breakfast, you said this phrase, and I quote, "You can do fewer things well with excellence." And is that what looking in is about? What does that mean to you?
It's definitely a part of it. Are we sharing, is our message clear, concise? Is our message simplified, not just to where someone can hear it and understand it, but that they can turn around to their network and share it themselves? So are we providing them a framework that is so easily understood that not only can I absorb it, but I can turn around and I not only can I want to. I want to share it with my friends. It's compelling. It's simple.
Is it hard to be a steward of that philosophy in your role right now or across your 20-year career? Like, is this easy to do or is this hard to do? I feel like it's a leading question maybe, but no, I think it's hard to do.
It's incredibly hard to do. I will say this. I think part of, I have other nonprofit leaders come to me quite often and ask, what is the magic sauce at Charity Water? It feels like there's some sort of magic sauce. I think it's found in this. I think it's found in the simplicity of message, being incredibly clear in what we do, and providing compelling ways for people not just to understand our message, but to also share our message.
So let's talk about this a little bit more, because I feel like this is one of those things, again, to know and not to do is not to know. This is one of those things that, we as marketers, it's like, this is something I will be taught in marketing one-on-one, right? And then what's the last time that I opened that book?
I think so much a part of it internally, me personally, understanding myself, understanding my blind spots, understanding what I do well, what I don't do well, making sure that I'm building a team that helps support me in my weaknesses and can feed off my strengths. I think all of that is incredibly important. I think about it as a DNA of an organization as you're building that and really understanding who you are, what your message is, how you simplify that message, and really being clear about understanding who is connecting to you, how they're connecting to you, and why. I think all of this is related, right?
Well, and how I perceive this, because this is really interesting to me, is that how does someone like Charity Water, where you are the steward of the brand, and you want to really look in to start, like you said, before you look up and out?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that understanding who you are and having real clarity of direction, and we often refer to it as the North Star, of understanding where we're headed. We just went through a practice where we wrote our vision. We call it a Vision 2030. Okay. And it's our strategy for as we kind of look to 2030, what are the series of things that we're going to do, and we know these are going to evolve. They're going to change. But where we're headed, that's not changing.
Yes.
And I think as individuals, the best thing we can offer the world is the most authentic version of ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so really understanding who we are deep in our DNA, and so much of that that foundation is laid at the very beginning of the establishment of the organization, right? And then now where do we go from here? How do we take that and extrapolate? And again, we kind of come back to our mission is pretty simple. Simple in thought and idea, right? It's to solve the world's water crisis.
Well, it's simple and it's extremely complex and difficult.
Yes, difficult to do, but simple to understand.
So, the thing I'm taking away is this, because I know we're getting philosophical, but I think this is terribly important. And you said it, that mission, clarity about the mission, and looking in, defining that mission, right? Mm-hmm. You spoke about the fact that you guys have 2 separate bank accounts, about the fact that you don't want to just address the water crisis. You freaking want to solve it.
Yep.
And, something as boring as, and it sounds boring, operating, making sure that this water pump is actually working and it's not broken, right?
Yeah.
Well, but that is solving the problem. It isn't just putting a pipe in the ground and 1/3 of those pieces of equipment, like you said, breaks down.
Yeah.
So these are elements to me of your mission being authentic, that your words, and it is actually a vision. And how many brands, if every brand that I interact with as a consumer had this clarity of mission, AKA vision, and was absolutely unapologetic about being committed authentically for the next decade, right? Because it shouldn't change, to your point. I don't know. I think brands will be more successful.
I absolutely agree. Yeah. Yep.
And to me, and I know, look, I'm I've been doing marketing for 25 years.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that drives me crazy when I talk to a brand and they cannot tell me what you just told me.
Yeah.
It's funny how it's not easy to be committed to.
Greg, can I give you an example?
Yes, please do give me an example.
So I was at an organization for a while that was doing incredible work.
Yeah.
We were doing incredible work. And we did a lot of things in the field and in the developing world. And the things that we were doing were inherently good.
Yeah.
A lot of good things. They were quite complex. And we wanted to tell all the different stories about what we were doing. Mm-hmm. And so we would try to educate our audiences as we shared our message. Mm-hmm. Wasn't working. And so when we started to hone in our message on one of the things that we do really well is this, mm-hmm. and we would share about this over and over again and be very simple. All of a sudden, our acquisition strategy started working better. People started coming on at higher levels, at greater volume. And the idea was, okay, now we're getting them in the door. Now let's educate them on all the different things that we do. So we started doing that. Well, then you start to see the attrition rates go up.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, wait, something is disconnected here. And so over time we go, nope, let's stick to the message that brought them here in the first place. Even though I think one of the greatest mistakes we make as organizations is at times we can get a little bit bored or tired
Sure.
with the same message that we're sharing, not with necessarily the work, but with the message. And the issue becomes when we think that our audiences are bored with it too, because that's not oftentimes not the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went back to kind of sharing the message that brought them in to begin with. And when we did that, we saw the retention rates start to rise, the attrition rates going down, and we fixed the issue. We fixed our attrition problem by cutting attrition nearly in half, just through simplification of message.
Yes.
And trying not to feel like everybody needs to be educated with every single thing that we do.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean those things aren't important, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing those things. But what it might mean is that the message itself needs to be simplified. If I'm talking from a nonprofit standpoint, your donor doesn't necessarily care that you do all these things from A to Z. What they want to know is that their dollar is making a difference in the lives of others. Like whatever the mission that they gave to, that you told them that they were giving to, they want to know that the impact is being made. And that's where we kind of, we get lost sometimes.
That impact, right? That emotional connection, that upside from being committed to that one story.
Mm-hmm.
Share the story of Helen from Uganda.
Oh, yeah.
And how that can resonate.
Gosh.
Because it's a great story.
Gosh. Helen was a lady that lived in northern Uganda in one of the areas that we were working in at Charity Water. And, when we talk about providing clean water for communities, we think about health. Mm-hmm. We think about kids being able to go to school and not spend their days collecting water.
Yes.
And that's all amazing and good and definitely a critical part of what we do. But Helen told us a little bit of a different story. Mm-hmm. She said, yes, my kids have clean drinking water now. And yes, my family is able to do this. But what I'm able to do is wash my clothes now. Yeah. What I'm able to do is wash my face.
Which, by the way, I would never think of that as that seems so unimportant in a way.
Right. But if you think about, you have a very limited amount of water that you can use per day. I can either cook with this. Yeah. I can either give my livestock something to drink. I can, or I can take a bath. And it's either or. Well, now she had and.
Yes.
And I can do this. And I can do this. And what she said was, and I feel beautiful.
So sweet.
And it, kind of took us all back of, wow. I mean, we say a lot at Charity Water, clean water changes everything.
Yeah.
This was a perfect example of that. Clean water changes everything.
It's a really sweet example.
Yeah. And we come back to this a lot at Charity Water, and it is the power of story and the power of the one, of talking about a person's story.
Yes.
And so, for us, it's about, again, kind of coming back down to that, telling the powerful stories of the one that help people understand and be able to absorb these critical stories that will then, kind of inspire generosity. And so, for us, it's, if you're just talking to people in stats and numbers and kind of, 40,000 foot conversation, it's not compelling them. It's not inspiring them to act. And so for us, it's been clear that we have to tell the compelling stories.
Now, but I think there's also, because we spoke about this, there's also a way to break that big number that's overwhelming. Mm. I almost don't want to think about it. It's so sad. And make it more real. So storytelling in the context of the $40, right? You shared with me how actually $40 does provide clean water to one person.
Yeah.
And there is something magical that you guys have that's about the $40 that connects with all of these emotions. What is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, it's about transparency. And from day one, that's been a critical part of what we, what we believe, who we are, part of our DNA. And I mean, honestly, from day one, we put every single project that we ever built on our website. So you can see the, through Google Maps, go on and look at the satellite images.
No way.
And we give latitude, longitude
That's
lines,
so cool.
the whole deal. You can go see it right there. So it's been critical for us to be able to kind of show that transparency.
Yeah.
Part of the way we do that for our donors that are giving $40 a month or $20 a month, for every $40 across our portfolio around the entire world, you're providing clean water for one person.
Right. And
so
that's it? This is like over a year, like over what period?
Well, so no. So let's say a project might cost $10,000 to build a well in a community that's going to provide clean water to 300 people.
Yes.
So the idea is that for about every $40, that's going to provide clean water to one person.
A member of the community would be able to use that well.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
That makes sense to me.
So and for us, it's important, again, kind of coming back to that story of the one.
Yep.
That's one more person. That's one more person. So we look at that 700 million number, and it seems so massive and it seems so big.
Yes.
But as you see, we've built this this tool kind of we call lifetime impact.
Yes.
So as I give to the spring every single month, my people served grows. So I'm providing clean water to more and more people, and I'm watching that grow over time. And so, again, for me, what kind of impact can I make in 700 million?
Yes.
Well, now I'm looking at it. Oh, wow, that's 40 people. That's 50 people. That's 80 people. And then as I go out and even bring other people into the mission of, to give money to Charity Water, I can watch their lifetime impact grow too. And so I think it's just a unique way for us to say, it matters. You matter. And that gift, while it might feel small in the light of the problem, it really matters.
So you are really making the emotional also tactile, right?
Yes.
There's texture to it. It's almost transactional. And I'm really tempted to talk about Spring and your recurring revenue model, because clearly you have made investments in technology. But I want to hold that thought. I want to resist the urge. Let's talk about audiences for a second and personalization, because we're talking about mission, right?
Yeah.
That's the North Star. We spoke about the message, that it has to be emotional. It has to also connect to something tangible. We just did that.
Yeah.
How are you thinking about audiences? Like, is Charity Water for everyone?
Yeah. I mean, I think we will resonate with certain folks. I do think there is something unique about our mission in that it is not divisive. There is no one on the planet that's going to come to us and say, I don't think what you're doing is a good idea.
Right.
I don't think what you're doing is right.
Yeah.
We avoid those arguments, right? We're providing clean water for people. Pretty much everybody can get on board with that. But I think we do need to know who we're talking to, who is most apt to respond to our message. But I think for us, it's been really sharing this kind of compelling, inspiring message of providing clean water to everybody on the planet, and that seems to resonate with quite a few people.
Do you need to know your data well, your first-party data, to know who your super donors are?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we definitely have some personas, and we know who the people are that are most apt to respond to our message. And so, when we're looking at paid marketing and those types of things, we're trying to target those types of people, a certain type of people, for sure. And I think, part of what's built into the DNA of the organization too was when Scott first started the organization and thought, you know what, I know so many people are skeptical of charities.
Yeah.
I actually want to be a charity for the skeptics. Like, what if we create a charity? We remove this idea of I don't know where my money's going. We have transparency. We show them the projects on our website.
Yeah.
We have a 100% model where every penny that they give goes directly to clean water. And we almost become a charity for the skeptics.
Yeah.
So part of what our mission is, even outside of providing clean water for everyone, and again, staying singular focused, that's our mission. But what we also want to do is inspire generosity for the world. Our hope is that people hear Charity Water's mission, they become involved in Charity Water. Maybe they'd never given to a charity before.
Yeah.
And they decide to trust in Charity Water because of our model, because of who we are. that in turn, because of the experience we provide, again, we're focused on them, we're focused on their experience and making happy donors. They then decide to give to other things, and they're helping the homeless in their community. They're doing whatever it might be. But we are inspiring a movement of generosity. That is really an unspoken part of our ethos at Charity Water.
So tell me about a brand that wouldn't want to have their mission be something that people internalize and then want to share with others. And isn't that the best promotion from an organic perspective, right? For every brand out there that would want the audiences, because of that clarity of messaging, because of clarity of mission, to be so clear about what they stand for, that they're going to sort of make this part of who they are, and it's going to inspire them towards a movement. Again, I think any brand that has some kernel of mission within them. I mean, I don't care if it's, Allbirds using recycled, right, materials, right, green materials, or Tesla, right, promoting sort of electrification, which is really about climate change. It can be really any brand with some promise of something bigger than themselves. So, I mean, what you're describing is, I think, literally a marketer's dream. And I'll stand by that phrase. Now, let's talk about donor journey. And I think that your founder had an interesting experience that has to do with Spotify. And I think that inspired you guys to really go in on, what I kind of personally call individual giving or general donors. But I think you're providing this experience for all of your donors. So talk to me about that Spotify example. And then I want to go into specifically this idea of kind of the revenue engine that you've built.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the Spotify example is interesting. Scott, our founder and CEO, had taken Daniel Ek to the field to actually see some of the work firsthand, to see some water projects and that sort of thing. And they were in Ethiopia, and they're driving in the vehicle along this kind of dusty road, and Daniel looks over at Scott and he says, your business model, it kind of stinks. And Scott said, "What do you mean?" He said, you get to the end of the calendar year, December 31st, and your fiscal year ends, and you get to January 1, and you're back at zero. And he just kind of, he's talking about what he's building at Spotify and this monthly recurring subscription business and idea and model. And so Scott's idea was, can we build a subscription program for good that would inspire people to change other people's lives through providing clean water? And so we launched the spring experience, which is a monthly recurring program for donors, and it's a community of donors who are doing immense good and providing clean water for thousands and thousands of people every single year. And so for us, it's the idea of personalization. I can't think of personalization without thinking of Carnegie and How to Win Friends and Influence People. And people love to hear their name, right? And when I get emails from nonprofits that I give to, and they say, "Hey, donor," or "Hey, supporter," it's I want to hear my name. I want you to tell, I want to know that you know me. And so we really try to go above and beyond in some of this. And, we have a few stories. And most recently, I'm thinking of, actually, I'll give an example of our CEO and founder who was talking to one of our donors, and she was talking about how her son was really loved Star Wars. So Scott immediately...
I love Star Wars.
Star Wars,
I love Star Wars.
I don't want to get you started there.
Good call. Yes.
And so Scott immediately goes back to his computer, sits down after he talks to this donor, and just mails them a Mandalorian Lego set.
Oh, nice.
For the son.
Yes.
And just says, hope he enjoys it, And of course, she receives this gift and responds with this email of like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe you do this." But this is what we try to foster within the DNA of Charity Water, which is every donor matters. Every person matters. Everybody that is connected to our mission matters. And we want to honor that. And so we have something we call surprise and delight at Charity Water. I know a lot of people use the same terminology, but we use it quite frequently inside the organization. And it's, how can we surprise and delight our donors? And I think it showed up many ways throughout COVID, where we knew that people were fearful. They were hurting. They had family members that were really hurting or suffering, and so we really tried to do many different things, from creating funny TikTok videos to whatever it was at the moment, of connecting with our donors over this time that felt very heavy, but doing so in a way that maybe hopefully provided a little bit of light and delight in their day.
And does this mean that in order to deliver on your mission and to drive the point home about what you stand for and to embrace these specific audiences, did you have to make significant investments in technology to enable this type of messaging, this level of personalization?
Yeah, and
how did it happen?
Yes, and we are still growing.
Yeah.
Right? We are still in the process of trying to establish the infrastructure that would allow us to do it even more, because there is, I would say priority one for us, again, as we think about looking in, it's really, really fine tuning that infrastructure so that we can do the best job of looking in and providing the greatest experience for those who are connected to us. But yes, I mean, it's data informed. You mentioned donor journey earlier. Yes. This is something that we talk a lot about at Charity Water is what is that donor experience from the time that they say yes and they give to us that first gift? What does the process then look like year over year, month over month, year over year, and how does that continued growth? How do we pull them deeper and deeper and more engaged into the organization? And we want them to feel a part of our community. We want them to feel like a part of the Charity Water family.
So I want to share another quote, because I want to really drive this point home, and I want to drive it home because I feel that I work with many not-for-profits, and I don't hear the phrase donor journey is used more and more often, but I don't, and maybe it's just me, I don't hear it contextualize around personalization. But I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And under the quote, right, under the factoid, 72% of consumers say that they expect the businesses that they buy from to recognize them as individuals and know their interests. As individuals and know their interests. This is I think Scott sending that Mandalorian, which I think Grogu is cute. I think Grogu is very cute. And I actually have, I bought my kids Grogu mascot a while back. And I have Crocs sandals with Grogu on them, by the way. I really love my Star Wars. But, Scott sending that Mandalorian set, he's making them feel like an individual, right?
Yeah.
You telling someone that now that you've donated $40, you're actually providing clean water for one person. If your friends also become part of this mission, maybe your impact has spread across others, right?
Yeah.
That makes me feel like an individual. Does that drive a deeper relationship? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And does that give me some delight from the relationship? Yes. But it sounds like it's enabled by technology and data and just your approach to messaging. And here's something else. Brands demonstrate their investment in the relationship, not just the transaction, when they are personalizing, right? Again, they demonstrate their investment in the relationship. And you speak about building relationships, building the delight, right? Having deep connections a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the question I would have is, how do you know what their interests are if you're not watching their behavior? And the data is what is informing that behavior, right?
Yes.
It's telling us, what are they responding to? What is moving them? And even on the major donor side of the house for us, if we're not asking these questions, if we're not asking what brought you to us, what compels you to give each time you give, what are other organizations that you're giving to on a consistent basis? We want to know you. We want to know what inspires you, and we want to know that because, when we come back to you and we want to make sure that we're providing opportunities for you that are aligned with your values and your, what you're inspired by.
Yes.
So I think for us, it's really, if you're not utilizing data in that to inform how you're connecting to your donors and what that donor journey looks like over time, you're incredibly missing out. You're missing the whole point.
And look, this is something that we didn't rehearse this, but third-party cookie deprecation, large changes that happening right now in the industry, driven through privacy regulations, right? And I always tell brands that first party data, looking in, right, at who are my best super donors, super fans, and actually also knowing who I shouldn't be acquiring, not because they're bad people, just because I have a limited marketing budget.
Sure.
And there's actually, if you look at direct mail, I always like looking back at what has been done because history does repeat itself.
Yeah.
In direct mail, we're very used to suppressing lists and very used to actually allocating dollars to those lists that perform the best, right? This is really audience first marketing, but where does it start? With your own first party data, you understanding your data, behaviors, and driving decisions, driving media allocation through that lens.
That's right.
Now, there's a story of a video that was posted online about water. I think it was a 19-minute video, over 100 million views right now. And that one piece of creative, that one message in that one channel enabled you to almost conquer one audience and then sort of scale this up. Actually, you were able to look in at one audience with that video. And then I feel like you were able to look up or look out. Can you talk about this?
Sure. So it actually came right after that kind of Daniel Ek conversation of, you really need to be thinking about
the Spotify.
Yes. Yeah. Conversation. You really need to be thinking about monthly recurring donors and how you can create this program for good and providing clean water for people. And so, we developed this was before my time at Charity Water. And actually I'll tell myself a little bit here.
How many years ago do you remember?
This was in 2016.
Okay.
And Scott and I were friends before I came to Charity Water, our CEO and founder. And he sent me the video, and it was still kind of in its final rough edit phase. But he sent me this video. He said, "Hey, I'd love to know what you think." And I responded with, "Hey, I think it's incredibly compelling. Where are you planning on using it?"
What was inside of the video?
It was 21 minutes.
Okay.
And it was, it really talked a lot about Scott's story and kind of his upbringing and his kind of transformation into this idea. He went from a New York City nightclub promoter to now leading one.
Which, by the way, when I first heard that story, that's not typical.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So it tells a little about his story, but it obviously it lays out the issue of the lack of clean water around the world, and so. But it was 21 minutes, and I said, "This is great. Where are you planning on using it?" And I'm thinking, okay, he's going to bring a bunch of people into a room and show this video, and we're gonna put it out there. We're gonna put it online. We're gonna use it, and my internal voice said, "This is never going to work."
Yeah.
People are going to watch a 20-minute video.
Right? I mean, attention spans are so short.
That's right. That's right.
I think even 8 years ago.
Yeah. So, 20 minutes of, and, the joke is on me. Here we are. And thankfully, they move forward with the whole project and put it out. And it's, there's no telling how many millions and millions of dollars this one video has raised. And I'd recommend for anybody, it's just the spring video for Charity Water.
What do I look for?
The spring video. The spring video Charity Water. And it will be the first thing that comes up. And, but it's this really incredible, story of the organization and the organization's impact on the world. And then for several years, we really utilized this video to tell our story and to acquire thousands and thousands of spring members who came on and joined the mission. And it also was just a compelling way to tell our story, to tell the Charity Water narrative. As I think back on my own nonprofit journey, and as I look at Charity Water's history even, I think there are moments in time where a single channel becomes your growth engine. It becomes what fuels you.
Yes.
I think the mistake is, one, trying to do all of them at one time.
Right.
Or two, thinking that just one is going to be your only growth channel forever. Because, what we saw from 2016 to 2019 was that our monthly recurring, the spring, that program, that experience for donors was our growth engine.
And this is, again, general donors, right? These are like, how much are we talking about per month?
Yeah, so the average gift is around $26 per month.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So just people like you and me, regular people.
Most people can join. And so, Yeah, I mean, I think that was what enabled us to really expand and grow our impact,
Sure.
and providing more clean water for more and more people over those few years. 21 and 2022, what really drove a lot of that growth was really on the high net worth individuals
Yes.
who were stepping up, and really giving significant kind of transformational type gifts.
Yeah.
And that was our driver
And that's
of growth.
millions of dollars, I assume.
I'm sorry?
That's millions of dollars. Like
Oh, yes.
large,
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot, 7-figure gifts and those
Yes.
types of things. So, it's interesting to kind of see as the organization continues to mature.
Yeah.
The idea is that you would kind of have all of these different channels working in concert with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about that donor journey.
Yes.
Someone might come in as a spring member, and then they want to give a $15,000 gift, and then they want to maybe even join the well.
So I think this is especially interesting because you guys, many non-for-profits have been around for quite some time.
Yeah.
I think majority. And they're used to corporate donors, they're used to foundations, right?
Yeah.
Ultra high net worth individuals. And in my experience, focusing on, again, individual giving or general donors, people who give $26 a month, that to me feels for those non-for-profits as not an afterthought, but it's a by the way.
Yeah.
And you started differently.
Yeah.
If you were talking to someone who works for an established non-for-profit and you were advising them, you were maybe on their advisory board, maybe you were coaching them, and they really want to lean in on creating a general donor program where someone gives them 10, 20, $30 a month, what would you tell them?
Yeah. I mean, for one, I always say whenever I'm advising any nonprofit, I'm looking at where is your area of opportunity today?
Okay.
Where is your zone of opportunity?
Is that looking in?
It is. It's looking in.
Yeah.
It's looking in at your existing file and saying, who are these people?
Mm-hmm.
What segment are they giving in? And double down on that for a while, and really focus and grow that. For some, it might be major donors. If your primary network is high net worth individuals, then that's where you want to spend your time. That's where you want to double down. Now, that might not be the same 5 years from now. 5 years from now it's time to start growing this thing. What does that look like for us? And at the very beginning, Scott would every once in a while would say, I'd almost rather see 1 million people give $1 than one person give $1 million, because for him it was the idea that this is going to be a movement. And as I talked about earlier, with this is it's about creating this generation or movement of generosity. As much as it's about solving the water issues around the world. That is a critical part of who we are, and so it's inviting everyone. We had a little girl who sent in her allowance money one time, and she sent it in to, and I can't remember what the exact amount. I want to say it was $8.13. Right, and it was some change, and then a few dollar bills and things, and with it came a little letter, and we took that, went to her and said, "Can we share this story?" And made a whole campaign out of it. I went out to our audience and said, this little girl gave $8.13. You can do the same. Some of you can give $81.30. Some of you can give $810. And so, really taking these stories and experiences that we see every day at Charity Water, where people are giving sacrificially, at times.
But you guys inspire generosity through looking at the whole value chain, meaning the Kid Resources Program, right?
Yeah.
Where you're helping parents, because I want to riff off that example.
Sure.
You're helping parents make it easy for their kids to be philanthropically minded.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's interesting. As I have been in the nonprofit space now for over 20 years, over the last 10 years, I think so many of my conversations have been with some of our major donors that are giving $10,000 plus annually. So many of them are raising kids that they want to make sure that they're raising compassionate individuals.
Yes.
They're raising generous kids. And so at Charity Water, we've really taken that to heart. We wanted to resource and equip parents.
Yeah.
We also just have loving kids and compassionate kids that are trying to do what they can. They're setting up lemonade stands. They're doing, whatever it is at their schools to raise money for Charity Water. And so, for us, it's about how can we better equip them. And so, we created a video series called the Journey video series, which you can go on the Charity Water website. It's right there, and just utilizing kid resources. Every summer we do something called our Tiny Heroes campaign, and we highlight a few of those kids that are doing amazing things and having incredible impact and providing clean water for people. So we're really trying to, hopefully, one, resource, but two, inspire this idea of this movement of generosity.
I think what you're saying is that if I am a non-for-profit and I want to be durable and I want to be future-proofed, because so many of the marketing leaders I talk to in the space, they have an aging list. Direct mail seems to be a big thing, right? Still, with many NFPs. They want the fresh blood. They want to go after younger audiences. They struggle being relevant. They struggle with knowing how to reach those audiences. And if I look at me, there are some causes where I donate $10 a month. There's a handful where I will donate $10,000 a year, right? Maybe not consistently, but occasionally.
Sure.
Then we as a company will donate $50,000 to someone. So there's not one persona, meaning we are all complex, multifaceted. And I think what you're saying is that if I can have a program that speaks to me as a parent, me as an individual, me having kids, me as someone who can give maybe 25 years ago $10 a month, and maybe right now it's $10,000, and maybe in the future, I would love to be in a position where I can donate several $1 million. Not right now, not today. But you know what? Maybe in 5-10 years, I'll be exactly there. And if I'm donating $26 a month to Charity Water right now, and I'm part of that mission, and I know that with $40, one person gets access to clean water, and I know that you guys have separate bank accounts, and I know that you want to, create a kind of a mission of generosity, right? And of course, I'm talking about Charity Water, but I'm really talking about any other non-for-profit out there, anyone that is mission-driven. I think that you are going to be that non-for-profit that I will specifically want to donate that $1 million to in 10 years because you have taken the time to establish that relationship with me because you have had the North Star that has stayed consistent. Is this it? I mean, am I,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Am I summarizing it okay?
Creating brand loyalty, understanding. And again, I think for us, we truly approach this from the standpoint of even if the $26 donor is giving us $26 for the rest of their lives, and that's all they can ever do.
That's great.
Matters.
Sure, of course.
That matters. And so I think for us, it's how do we provide these incredible experiences for everybody along the journey in every single area of, whether they have great capacity to give, smaller capacity to give, we can all make a difference. And so how do we inspire each and every one of those? And that's a part of that donor journey piece too, is how do we talk to those folks?
And it's part, it goes back to what we said earlier. What we do is complex. Marketing is awesome because it is ambiguous, right? It is emotional. It is financial. I mean, look, business. When I talk to other business owners, what is business about? It's about psychology and money. It's about emotion, and you have to also make sure you have money in the bank. Right. You can't just have emotion, and you can't just have money. You have to have both. I think that's what marketing is also about. If you're a CFO, it's not about emotion. It's about money, right? If you're just thinking about, if you're a creative shop, it's about, you can say it's about, money, but it's really about emotion, I think. But a marketer is about emotion and money and technology and data and messaging and mission. Personalization, right?
That's right.
It's freaking overwhelming.
And focus. Focus.
Well, in all of that, looking in.
This is the looking in.
There we go.
I think so often in nonprofits, and one of the biggest issues I see is them trying to do far too many things. And we struggle with it at Charity Water too.
Yeah.
We're not perfect by any means.
Everybody does.
Part of part of what we have to decide daily is really this idea around focus. I was hanging out with he's actually one of our very generous donors. He's the producer of the movie Elf.
Yes.
Todd Komarnicki, and he was saying, he said, Ben, he said, no is one of life's greatest vitamins. And I thought, one of life's greatest vitamins? No. And he said, because it nourishes you for what you're actually meant to do. And I thought, oh my goodness, let's take that right into Charity Water and let me apply that now, because, if you can do so many things, and as you start to stretch yourself so thin that you compromise quality and you compromise excellence.
Yeah.
And can we decide to do a few of these things really, really well? We have very smart people at Charity Water. There's no shortage of ideas. And I think for us, it's deciding which ideas are right for right now. What are we going to tackle? How are we going to do it? And really focusing.
It's funny how the art of saying no, right?
Yeah.
The permission to protect myself from doing too many things, like your example of your donor, the director or producer of Elf, of the movie, which is a great holiday movie. But
Best.
So you guys actually decided right now to say no to being lower in the funnel, and you decided to say yes to being 50-50, top and bottom, and allow yourself to be okay with screwing some things up and yet succeeding at other things?
That's right.
Did I hear that correctly?
That's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, we could put all of that investment into the bottom of funnel, and we could pull that lever, and we could pretty much scientifically understand about where we're going to land.
Yeah.
Or we can take half of it, put it in that bottom of funnel, take the other half, and say, we're going to take some risks on some things. We're gonna step back out.
Give me an example of something. So, of course, the 21-minute video, 2016.
Which was an investment, by the way.
Top of the funnel.
It's not cheap to create a 20-minute video.
Pretty risky move.
A risky move.
Right? I'm sure that wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
And why not just put those dollars into paid search, for example?
That's right.
Back in 2016, right?
That's right, yeah.
But, so give me an example of something you guys are thinking about this year, if you can share.
Yeah.
That's risky, top of the funnel, but maybe it's, I like this word terrasiting. A good friend of mine told me this. It's terrifying and exciting.
Yeah.
So is there something that's terrasiting that you guys are working on that's in that 50% top of the funnel?
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah, that's why.
Because I do want to have a little
and we
bit of
didn't
surprise
talk about this,
element.
So I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, so we're working on some things built around the Summer Olympics right now. And some commercials.
Oh, yeah.
And what we might be able to do to talk about, to highlight this idea of water changing everything.
Yeah.
If you look back on some of the historical campaigns that Charity Water has run, we've done the Water Changes Everything campaign where you look at a plate of spaghetti and it's the hard pasta noodles, right? With red sauce poured over it.
Sure.
And we say water changes everything.
Yeah.
You look at a baby bottle where it's just the dust of formula in the bottom.
Yes.
But that's it.
Yes.
And we say water changes everything. There's these kind of provocative type of ads that we've run. We're drumming up some new things for the Summer Olympics that I think are going to be really, really interesting.
I think it's the July, correct?
That's right.
Paris, if I remember correctly.
That's right.
So do me a favor. This was awesome.
No, it's great to be here.
No, thank you. So give me a summary, right? We started by talking about looking in, look up, look out.
Yeah, you better do a real deep dive of who you have right in front of you before you spend all of this time, energy, and resource on reaching out. Because what people often overlook is all of the incredible opportunity that is right under their nose that they're standing on top of. I think it's interesting. I think about the parallel. Charity Water is working all around the world, providing clean water for people. Often this water is not far below their feet. They just need the resources and the
drill.
To drill it, to get it, right? And so build your infrastructure, let data inform your decisions.
Okay.
And but look in, because a lot of times the greatest opportunity, the greatest resource is going to be right below your feet. It's going to be right there, right in front of you.
Ben Greene, Chief Revenue Officer, Charity Water, 20 years of experience in the industry, so many amazing lessons, so many great examples of how marketers can create what feels like exceptional value through the practice, the discipline of being obsessed about, may I say, doing fewer things well.
Yeah.
But also there is an element of the art of saying no. Ben, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me.